Hi everyone, welcome back to Krystal Clear Lore. My name is Crystal Lance, and I know we're starting things a little bit differently this time, but that's because this is our super special Christmas Eve episode. So my producer Brady and I thought we would bring back an old Christmas Eve tradition, which is spooky stories. So we're going to be having a ghost story and then a discussion, but about the tradition and the story, not about a folklore cryptid today.
But it's still lore.
It's still lore, it's still part of it.
And we're going to make it crystal clear.
Yes, we are. Here we go.
Lord Gideon St. Clair, newly come into possession of Coldfell Hall upon the death of his distant kinsman, Mr. Ambrose Deverell, had taken up residence only a fortnight before Christmas. The servants still moved about the echoing corridors like wary cats, and half the crates from his London house remained unopened. On his third evening, while arranging his late kinsman's desk, his lordship discovered a slender roll of vellum, bound with faded crimson ribbon and sealed in black wax with the Deverell crest. Breaking the seal, he read by the light of a single candelabrum. To whichever unhappy soul next bears the title of this place, forgive the bluntness of a man who has little time left. Coldfell Hall is not and has never been entirely our own. There dwells within the west wing a presence that claims its due upon every Christmas Eve at the 13th hour. Should the master of the house fail to present himself alone in that wing between the strokes of 12 and 1, the spirit's wrath falls not upon him only, but upon the entire line. Lands barren, fortunes lost, children born to sorrow. I laughed, as you doubtless do now, yet on my first Christmas here I unlocked the iron-bound door and crossed the threshold. What I met within I shall not commit to paper. Some mercies are too slender to be spoken aloud. Know only that I have performed this rite each year since, and the house and the name have endured. The key you will find in the topmost drawer lies cold to the touch, even on the warm days. Use it or do not, but come Christmas Eve, listen well. If the wind about the chimney falls silent and the clocks begin to chime 13, you will already have chosen. Ever your servant in this shared bondage, Ambrose Deverell. Christmas Eve, 1887. The vellum slipped from his fingers and curled at the edges, as though reluctant to remain red. Outside, the snow had begun. Great silent flakes brushed the window like pale moths seeking a flame. In the drawer, beneath a scatter of old sealing wafers, lay a heavy iron key, curiously cold as though it had lain upon frost. Though bred in an age of gaslight and reason, Lord Gideon felt the old house watching him. He told himself it was mere fancy, yet when his hand closed round the iron key, it was so cold it burned. Christmas Eve had come, bitter and windless. Lord Gideon sat alone in the study, a single lamp burning, the tumbler of whiskey untouched save for one sip taken an hour earlier, for medicinal courage. Upon the blotter lay the iron key, glinting dully whenever the fire flared. The clock on the mantel gave its warning click before striking the quarter. 11:45. He had spent the week mocking the letter aloud to his own reflection, yet here he was, pulse loud in his ears, rising as though pulled by a string. At length he took up the key in his gloved hand. It felt colder than the night outside, and went in search of the west wing. A servant was already at the door with a candelabrum, waiting for him. Without a word, he received it with a nod, and unlocked the door. The door opened with a sigh, as though the wing had been holding its breath since the previous year. He heard the servant shut it behind him and waited. His lordship hadn't known what to expect, but so far the entire wing had been stripped to bare boards and silence. He took a step, hearing it echo down the hall. From the far end of the long gallery, the clock in the great hall began to strike 12. He counted each stroke aloud under his breath, an old soldier's habit against fear. On the 12th, from the darkness thick as velvet, came the faintest rustle of silk upon the boards. Not footsteps, something lighter, as if the air itself were being parted by trailing fingers. A woman's form took shape at the edge of the candlelight, not quite walking, not quite floating. The dress had once been white, Now it was the white of winter moonlight on grave slabs, and the face above the lace collar was turned toward him with a sorrow too ancient for tears. His heart hammered as though it would burst the cage of his breast. Yet he did not retreat. With the candle held high, he went forward to meet whatever waited in the 13th hour. Lord Gideon found his voice at last. You are expected, madam. I was bid to keep vigil here. The figure inclined her head. The gesture sent a ripple through the lace at her throat as though a wind he could not feel had touched it.
Then you already know more than most who have stood in your place.
Her voice was not loud, yet it filled the gallery, coming from everywhere and nowhere, like the memory of a voice heard in childhood.
I am Isolde Deverell,
she said,
condemned to walk this wing until certain debts are paid. 307 Christmas Eves have I kept count, and many more remain.
She drifted, not walked, toward a door he had taken to be painted onto the wall. It swung inward at her passing, revealing a small chamber lit by no candle he had brought. 2 chairs waited, facing one another across a dustless table. Upon the table lay a nosegay of long dead flowers, brittle as burnt paper.
Sit,
she said, and the word brushed his cheek like frost. He obeyed. There was no pressure upon the opposite chair, yet the lace at her cuffs settled as though around living wrists.
Each year the master of Coldfell Hall must bring winter roses for the graves of my children, lay them with his own hand, and then return here to listen. While one man in the direct line yet performs this office, the house stands and the name prospers. When the roses are forgotten...
She lifted her face fully to the candlelight for the first time. Beneath the veil of her hair, he saw that sorrow had burned every human expression away, leaving only hunger.
The stones themselves will cast you out.
A pause. Long enough for the candle to gutter, though no draught stirred the air. I have no roses tonight, Lord Gideon managed.
None ever do, the first year,
she answered, and the faintest softening, something that might once have been pity, passed across the ruin of her mouth.
But the story must be spoken all the same. When the telling is complete 500 times by 500 lords, or by one lord 500 years, then I may sleep. Until that hour I wait, and the house waits with me.
In the dim chamber, where the candle flame danced as though afraid to touch the shadows, Isolde Deverell leaned forward, her eyes pale as frost-rimmed glass, fixed upon Lord Gideon with a gaze that seemed to draw the warmth from his blood.
Listen, then,
she whispered, her voice weaving through the air like smoke from a dying fire.
And mark well the tale of a woman who loved too deeply and paid for it in eternity. It began in the year of our Lord 1587, when I was yet flesh and blood, the young bride of Sir Reginald Deverell, master of this very hall, then called Deverell Court, before the cold winds of fate renamed it in whispers. He was a man of fierce ambition, tall and dark as the yews that guarded our gates, with a laugh that could charm the birds from the branches. I, Isolde, daughter of a lesser house, brought him no great dowry, but my devotion, pure as the first snow of Advent. We wed on a crisp Michaelmas morn, and for a time the halls rang with joy. 2 children came to us, little Edmund, with his father's raven curls, and sweet Alice, whose eyes mirrored my own. But ambition is a cruel mistress, and Reginald's heart turned from hearth to court. He journeyed often to London, where the Queen's favour glittered like fool's gold. He journeyed often to London, where the Queen's favour glittered like fool's gold. There, amid the silks and intrigues, he met Lady Beatrice Montfort, a widow of wealth and cunning beauty. Her estates vast enough to eclipse our modest acres. Letters came at first, scented with rose water and secrets, then whispers from servants who had kin in the city. I confronted him one stormy eve as thunder rattled the casements like accusing fists. "Is it true?" I demanded, clutching a crumpled missive I had found hidden in his desk. His face hardened, the tenderness I had known crumbling like old mortar. "True enough," he snarled. "Beatrice brings lands and influence that you, with your barren fields and empty coffers, could never match. I will set you aside, Isolde, cast you out like a beggar's cloak. The children stay with me. They are Deverell's, not yours to claim." His words struck deeper than any blade, for in those days a wife was but chattel, and a mother's rights dissolved like mist before the law. Grief seized me then, a black tide that drowned Grief seized me then, a black tide that drowned all reason. That Christmas Eve, as snow blanketed the world in mocking purity, I wandered the halls in a fever of despair. The children slept in their nursery, innocent as lambs beneath the holy boughs we had hung together. Reginald was away, carousing in London with his paramour, leaving me to the silence and the storm. In my madness, I saw no path but one. If he would tear us asunder, then we would depart this world together, bound eternally where no betrayal could reach. With trembling hands, I prepared a draught of hemlock gathered from the wild woods beyond the estate, bitter as my tears. I woke Edmund and Alice gently, telling them it was a special potion to dream of angels on this holy night. They drank trustingly, their small faces alight with wonder. As their breaths grew shallow, I joined them, lying down amid the cradle and the toys, the poison burning like fire in my veins. We were found the next morn by the servants, stiff and cold as the frost outside. Reginald returned to a house of mourning, but his grief was short. He wed Beatrice within the year, and the Devereux line prospered on her gold. Yet prosperity came at a price. For on the first Christmas Eve after, as he sat alone by the fire, my form appeared in the west wing, demanding recompense. The children's graves lie unmarked in the old churchyard, overgrown with briars. No flowers ever graced them until the lords began their vigil. Thus I am bound, Gideon St. Clair, to retell this sorrow each Yuletide until 500 ears have heard it, and 500 hands have laid the winter roses. Only then may I cross into peace, and the curse lifts from this house. Fail in this, and the stones will remember. Fortunes crumble, heirs wither, and the Devereux name fades like breath on glass.
Isolde fell silent, her form flickering like a candle on the verge of extinction. Lord Gideon sat motionless, the weight of centuries pressing upon him as the 13th hour drew near its end. Outside, the snow continued to fall, burying the world in white oblivion. As the final echoes of her voice faded, the great hall clock began to chime. Not the rhythmic tolling of midnight, but a deep, discordant 13th strike that seemed to vibrate the very marrow of Gideon's bones. The candle in Gideon's hand died, but the chamber remained illuminated by the pale, sickly luminescence of Isolde's grief. She stood, her form becoming more translucent, as if the effort of the telling had nearly unmade her.
The hour passes,
she whispered, her gaze drifting toward the window where the snow fell in relentless silence.
The debt is acknowledged, but the tribute is yet unpaid.
Gideon felt the phantom weight of the iron key in his pocket, still searingly cold against his thigh. He looked at the ruined woman before him, not as a ghost to be feared, but as a kinswoman trapped in a cage of her own making. "I have no roses tonight, Lady Isolde," Gideon said, his voice steadying, "but I have the word of a St. Clair. Your children will not sleep another night in the briars. Tomorrow, at first light, the snow will be cleared, and the best blooms of my hothouse shall be theirs." A change rippled through the figure. The hunger in her eyes didn't vanish, but it softened into something resembling a weary truce. She reached out a hand, a gesture not of spectre, but of a mother reaching for a lost child. Before her fingers could touch his cheek, she dissolved into a swirl of white mist that smelled of ancient dust and wilted petals. Gideon awoke at his desk in the study as the first gray light of Christmas morning touched the frosted panes. The fire was long dead, and his limbs were stiff with cold. For a moment, he hoped it had been the whiskey and the isolation of the old hall playing tricks on his mind. Then he saw it. On the blotter next to the heavy iron key lay a single sprig of holly. It was impossible. The holly in the house had been hung in the foyer, yet this piece was fresh, its berries bright as droplets of blood. He rang the bell for his valet. When the man appeared, looking as wary as the cats Gideon had first compared the servants to, the lordship stood with a new grim authority. "Fetch the gardener," Gideon commanded, pulling on his heavy greatcoat, "and find me the sturdiest spades in the shed. We go to the old churchyard." "On Christmas morning, my lord?" the servant stammered. "Especially on Christmas morning." Gideon replied. As he stepped out into the knee-deep snow, the silence of Coldfell Hall felt different. The house no longer seemed to be watching him with malice, but with a bated, expectant breath. He was the 20th lord to hear the tale. There were 192 vigils left to keep. Gideon looked toward the west wing, where the windows glinted like blind eyes in the morning sun. He had inherited more than a title and a drafty estate. He had inherited a soul to save. And as he set his boots into the fresh drifts, Lord Gideon St. Clair realized that for the first time in his life, he truly knew the meaning of a legacy.
Hello, everybody. So we're back with Krystal Clear Lore. The first thing I want to address is, yes, we were gone last week. We have had some minor health issues. I'm still kind of getting over being sick, but we were not in a good space to record last week, so we are very, very sorry that we missed you guys.
Yeah, it was just a perfect storm. We didn't have any backup episodes or anything like that, so we're really sorry. We're going to try to work on just having some in the pocket.
Yeah, that is our goal for the new year, is to at least be one or two ahead. So if this happens again, we at least have a buffer.
Buffer. I like that word. Anyway, there's another word I wanted to address from the story you just heard, but we'll get there.
Ooh.
So let's talk about what's going on here in the story we just read.
So a lot of Victorian tales have to deal with like tragic ghosts and curses and all this. And because it's Christmas Eve when this comes out, and I love Victorian times, but it was a big tradition to always tell ghost stories or read them when the printing press started really getting going on Christmas Eve, because it's associated with the Winter Solstice, which is the longest night of the year.
Okay.
So just the darkness, it was such a... It's kind of a double... There's like two things. One, it's dark for a really long time. You know, they always had fires or candles. It made for a really good spooky atmosphere.
Yeah.
To tell spooky stories, too. And in Yule, like the... Oh my gosh, Celtic... Thank you, brain. Celtic holiday... it does offer a gateway for spirits and making a deep reflection on life and death.
And my logic brain's kicking in and also kind of tying it to like it's really close to the shortest day of the year. So you're experiencing a lot more darkness in this season. So I'm imagining, and back then they don't have a lot of artificial light.
No, it was candles and...
So just really dark all the time, and there's not a lot of vitamin D, so your mood is down and you're kind of more... Let's call it, you're leaning into your negativity bias more, so you're going to be more open to spooky stories and stuff like that, too. It's going to give you that fun little edge to get you through. And, of course, you have a lot of fires going and calm moments around a fireplace or a stove of some sort, right? So I'm just I'm getting in the head of the people in the time and the mood and why are they leaning into spooky stuff during Christmas time, Yule.
Well, part of it is because it's the longest day of the year, but also the Victorian age was a fascinating time period where you had the Industrial Revolution hit and you had all this science and, gaslight and technology just advancing by leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
And yet people were still just absolutely in love with the idea of death and spirituality. The big spiritualist movement happened in the Victorian times. The reason we have knowledge of psychics and mediums and all that, it's literally from how big of a boom this was.
Okay, so then you have everybody's kind of head space is thinking about these kind of things too.
Yeah.
Okay, so they were pretty entangled in just spirits and all of that.
Oh yeah, spirituality was a huge, huge thing.
And then so Yule comes around, so they're in the spirit mindset, and then now they're thinking about the kind of rituals and the traditions of that time of year.
Well, and Yule
combining the kind of paradigms, I guess.
Right, and Yule is also the transition because it's literally as soon as the solstice is over, we start getting more sunlight.
Yeah.
So by the time this actually comes out, we're actually, I think, 3 days past the solstice, so we're already getting more sunlight.
There we go. And so too logical. Look, we can get back to lore because I wanted to ask about Michaelmas was mentioned in there. I don't know what that is. Is that like a different word for Christmas?
Yeah.
That was a fun one because while we were recording that, I really wanted to just interject and go, "What the hell is Michaelmas?"
Michaelmas.
Like
it is. Gosh, I'm pretty sure it's Christian. I know that much. It is celebrated this coming year on September 29th, 2026,
Oh.
I'm trying to get my notes here, and ads are popping up.
I popped pretty far into the lore there, but
Well, so Michaelmas it's a feast day, and I'm pretty sure most feast days are Catholic.
yeah, Catholics love to get together and eat.
Catholics love a saint. Okay, Catholics love a saint. It is the feast of Saints Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael, the feast of archangels, or the feast of Saint Michael and all angels. Those are the multiple names for it.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's very much.
They like their names too.
It's one of 4 quarter days of the English and Irish years. Apparently, also it does say here Lutherans and Anglican do celebrate that.
Anglican?
Yes, that. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not Christian, man. I'm trying my best.
That's okay.
But yeah,
There's a lot of lore there, so just calm down.
Lore.
Don't get ahead of yourself.
We gotta delve into the Bible lore.
Oh my gosh, it would be endless.
So much.
But,
So it is. It's near the fall equinox, and so in the northern hemisphere, it's associated a lot with the Catholics at the beginning of autumn. It's about a week after the equinox.
okay.
Let's see.
So yeah, like I said, I mean, the whole thing is really close to the shortest days of the year. You're really in the darkness,
Right.
especially in the northern hemisphere. Obviously.
Yeah, it's to not delve too deep into Michaelmas. We're gonna have to do like a whole section on the multiple Catholic lore.
Got it. So basically, though, to keep it short, it's a Catholic excuse to have a feast.
Pretty much for the
About- I'm
archangels, the
guessing
main 3.
Michael, the Archangel Michael.
Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael.
Do you think it might have been Michael back then in the old languages? the
Maybe.
Roman and stuff.
Probably.
I don't know. I'm just on one.
But yeah, it's short for Michael's Mass, but it also represents. It also
like
talk
Christ's
about.
Mass, Christmas.
Yeah, they
like
also
to
talk
they like their
about
names.
Gabriel and Raphael into it as well.
They like their little wordplay, like the government likes its acronyms, right? So.
Yeah.
Everybody's got their shtick.
But the Catholics love a saint and they love a feast day,
do.
so
They love a lot.
that's why I never can keep them straight.
they love a lot, and that's what I love about them. So let's dive into the lore now.
Okay, so we kind of talked about this lore of kind of Christmas Eve and how the Catholic Church, my gosh, my brain is not working, and how the Catholic Church was kind of the predominant religion at this time.
Right.
As she's talking about, because Michaelmas was one of the big ones.
Right.
And I'm going to be really good this year. We're not going to go on a 2-hour rant about the Catholic Church stealing Saturnalia and Yule, and we're going to I'm going to say it once.
Save that for Patreon stuff.
And we're going to leave it alone because I'm being.
We have to
really
have like
good
an after
this year.
dark show at some point, so we can
It's
give us
just-
a real hot takes, right?
It's just going to be like a 1-hour rant.
Yeah, I know. I hear it all the time personally.
You do.
You guys can hear it someday, but right now.
It's a whole thing.
So let's ignore the grievances. We can hear about those. Krystal Clear grievances will be a thing, okay? Make an article, I don't know, Substack.com or whatever.
Yeah, let's make a grievance of why I'm irritated about Yule and Saturnalia.
She's very opinionated about the Yule and the
bugs
transition into the Catholic hijack.
I have been very good so far because I haven't heard the phrase that triggers me. So as long as I don't hear that trigger phrase, I will continue being good.
Okay, well, I'm not going to ask what it is, and we'll just continue with the lore.
So Yule being the darkest night, the longest night, it should be easier for spirits to come through because it's kind of like a guiding point, right? Yule used to be the start of the new year. The 12 days of Christmas is the 12 days of Yule.
Yeah.
And if you count them out from like the solstice all the way to the Gregorian calendar's new year, which we use a Gregorian calendar for those that are confused.
Yep, so January 1st.
I think it's like 12 days, if I remember right. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So those are the original
12 days
of
of Christmas. Hanukkah has 12 days and candles, nights.
So
and
is 8.
candles. Was it?
Hanukkah's 8.
Is it 8?
Yeah, Hanukkah's 8. Where do
What
you
was I
get
thinking
12?
12 from?
Christmas is 12. Hanukkah is 8.
I think I just got them mixed up.
I think Kwanzaa is 7.
There's
but
too
I
many
could be
numbers.
wrong.
That's the problem here. Nobody said there would be any math.
There's always math. Math is the founding cornerstone of what the universe is built on.
We're going really deep in the lore here tonight, guys. We're going to start from the building blocks of the universe, and then we'll end up with what's the meaning of Christmas, okay? Well, so strap in.
The reason we celebrate Christmas, if you are not celebrating it for a religious reason.
Christ's Mass is what they call it that.
If you are not celebrating the winter solstice for a religious reason,
there you go.
Then the reason it's still celebrated, yes, we have the commercialism and the presents and all the things that Jim Carrey's The Grinch hated. Which he hated commercialism and consumerism and people and that stuff.
Everything kind of like, I don't even know if necessarily America was the sole proprietor of the mass consumerism for Christmas, but
all that stuff.
Human nature kind of is the culprit there in a way.
But we celebrate it because it is these, this week and a half, almost 2 weeks. It is a transition into the new year, right? Yeah. We start getting sunlight back, and you're starting to get more daylight, and you realize, oh yeah, spring's coming.
A lot
of people start prepping for the new year. This is the time of year where people are like, okay, we've got to do garden prep. We've got to start preparing. Oh, we've got seasonal stuff coming up in the summer.
Again.
Yeah, this is a forced hibernation of sorts, but it gives us time to plan, rest, and rejuvenate for the next year.
Yeah.
So when everybody is usually like, oh, well, I want to do this and this year, and your resolutions, that is more commonly associated with other parts of the year in different religions, different traditions like the Celts, but colloquially, they are part of the Christmas season itself.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's a really big amalgamation of a bunch of different cultures now.
It is.
But essentially kind of gathering around the same time of year for kind of the more or less the same reason.
Yeah.
To like, man, we made it around another time. Let's all remember, hey, we're here. We were out here doing it. Let's give each other a big old hug. Let's,
right, and
Christmas spirit.
And you've got the dark, you've got the darkest night of the year, longest night of the year, and you've got what's better for that for ghost stories, because the ghosts are kind of like, the darkness, and they're starting to fade again, which is why I had my story take place on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
In the Victorian times, it was considered the longest night of the year.
It's just, to me, it always felt so fitting, and I didn't know it until now, realistically. But yeah, there's always almost like an underlying creepiness to Christmas. The whole season, the whole holiday season.
Well, in the Christmas...
For some reason, it's just like winter itself is almost a representation of death and malice. Not even intentional, just the fact that, the cold comes and the crops die. And people die, typically back then before modern medicine and heating and like climate control and all the wonderful luxuries we have now that we cannot take for granted. Because if you think about it, back then, people were dying left and right in the winter, just freezing to death, sickness, all sorts of stuff. So it's just hard. Life was hard in the winter.
Yeah, it was a lot harder.
And so, yeah, people were a little bit more rigid, and I bet it was almost just kind of relaxing to have a ghost story.
Yeah,
artificial adrenaline rush and fear and control of the narrative instead of like the actual horrors of winter.
Yeah, exactly.
In contrast, so and then of course in like it's funny because then it's also the season where we want to be joyful and thankful for we made it around again, and hey guys, now we're coming out of it. So
yep, we're coming out of the dark.
I guess what better thing than like some ghost stories, some creep? Let's one last
huzzah.
Exactly. For the darkness.
And it's the modern Christmas that we celebrate now is a huge amalgamation of a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
So then it kind of fits too, because like the gift giving's from Saturnalia, the tree is from Yule, most of the decorations are from Yule, the 12 days is from Yule, a lot of it's Yule.
Yeah, Yule, and then of course the Christian overtones of everything.
Because the Catholic Church.
Yeah, I mean, you can say they hijacked it, but I mean, they did they borrowed the wave. They ride the wave.
Yeah.
Of Christmas of Yule.
It's because it was easier to convert the heretics and the pagans. I mean, what? That's crazy. I didn't say anything.
It is what it is, but because of that, they kind of let's just say. Took main stage in the Christmas culture, in modern days. But yeah, I can imagine back then it was still much different.
Yeah.
Because it was a little bit more Yule leaning, I can imagine.
Well,
still more paganistic.
It is now still, too. I mean, there's a lot of people who celebrate Christmas that aren't actively Christian.
Yeah, but there's still all of the Christian overtones just kind of baked in now.
Yeah.
The angels, or what are the cherubs and stuff like that.
No, they're actual angels. If the cherubs are St. Valentine's Day.
I know, but we put a lot of cherubs up in Christmas with the little angel ornaments and stuff like that.
You have angels, but not cherubs.
Oh.
I've actually never seen a cherub.
Maybe
I'm just crazy.
You might be right. Because I'm thinking of Valentine's Day, but there is a lot of, like the angel on the top of the tree. You're right. It's not the same.
So the angel on top of the tree represents Gabriel, who is the messenger angel, from what I can tell.
Some more lore.
Gabriel is the one that told Mary that she was going to give birth to the Son of God.
Yep.
In Christianity.
Like that,
that was Gabriel. Gabriel was also the angel that went and talked to the Prophet Muhammad for the Muslims.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, he's kind of like the linchpin.
He's the messenger in my head.
He's a link between a bunch of different things.
I think he also tell Abraham something too in the Torah.
I'm not sure. That could be it.
Torah.
We'd have to dig deep on that one, but those are three, like, we'll call them satellite religions.
Well, those are the big three.
That's what I mean, but they're all satellites of each other in a way.
Oh, I guess Gabriel is in the Torah for Daniel.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's what it was, not Abraham. No, it says, okay, hold on.
This is why we can't do Bible lore.
In Jewish tradition, his roles expand to include assisting Abraham, delivering Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. From the what is it?
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. That's a wonderful story. You should read it.
From the fiery furnace and teaching Joseph languages.
It's a crazy story.
Dude, Gabriel's freaking busy.
Yeah.
He's a busy guy.
But anyway, so this is why we can't do Bible lore, because there's too much in it.
There's so much.
Okay?
Well, and then you have different sections of the Bible lore, because you have the Torah, and then you have the Bible, and then you have the Quran. And if you're Jewish, you're going to reject the other two books, and if you're Christian, you reject the last book.
Yeah, I don't know if they necessarily reject them, but it's a discussion. Let's say it's
the
nuanced.
Jews do not believe in the New Testament or the Quran.
Right, but it is nuanced because they still discuss it.
Christians do not They do not believe in the Quran. And then if you're Muslim, you kind of believe in all three, but like it's off a little bit. Like you don't believe that Jesus was the Son of God. He was just a prophet.
Yeah. Well, we're not theists, so.
No.
You know what? Honestly, I'm sure we've been wrong
so
a bunch
much
here with this, so just get in the comments and yell at us on this one. But
yes, seriously, if you
it's just too much and confusing. We didn't really study a lot of theology, and I didn't mean to bring it up too much, but.
I mean, it's Christmas. It's one of the
But
most
that's what I mean. We start talking about
things.
Christmas, and then all of a sudden you get the religious overtones for no reason.
Right. Well, you can also talk about so you have the big three is what I'm going to call them, because it's the three books in my head.
Yeah.
Right. They're the big three religions in the world. But then when you go to the other side, you go to the pagan religions that are coming back. You know, the Nordics have their own stories about winter. The Greeks famously, the Hellenics, the Greeks and Romans famously have their story about Persephone being in the underworld this time, so that's why Demeter lets all this stuff die, or whatever their Roman equivalents are.
Okay.
The Egyptians have their own, the Celts have their own. Everybody has a story about winter, and they have their own festivities around these long, dark nights.
Yeah.
It's very confusing.
It is. But it's an important part of the year.
It is.
For all cultures across time, because the shortest day of the year, middle of winter.
Like we're getting ready to go through back to spring. You know, it's a reminder that spring is coming back. We are not stuck in this eternal darkness forever.
Yep.
So
I always had side story, just a little personal story. Every winter, at least since I was a teenager. I don't remember if it was earlier than that, but I've always had this irrational slight fear, especially towards the end of winter, that it's just not going to stop. It's just going to keep going. And then I have to keep shoveling, and I have to keep driving on the crazy roads, and I have to keep being cold. And it just drives, I thought maybe that's like a winter madness. I don't know what it is, but
cabin fever.
It happens every year now. It gets worse every year, especially it's just like, it's probably the lack of vitamin D.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, but nobody likes a long winter.
No. So I know we kind of really skimmed a bunch for Christmas and Yule.
It's just too big.
It's so big that I think to do it properly, we either need to release a 3 to 4 hour episode.
Oh, boy.
Or we just need to do just surface level stuff. If you guys have heard anything you want more information on, feel free to please reach out to us on social media or email us at wormsongmedia@gmail.com. We're very approachable. We're very easy to get along with.
Oh, yeah.
Brady only bites on Thursdays, so you're
Just
usually good.
Well, especially on Thursdays. Get a hold of us on Thursdays, guys.
No, you just start biting people. You can't. No.
Well, maybe they'll like it. But
you can't just bite random people.
Hey, before we completely end, I forgot to ask if there was any kind of I guess there wouldn't really be any kind of article kind of discussion in this one, would there, from the news or any kind of real life lore, because that was all going to be from
it kind of is all real life lore.
Exactly. So yeah, this one is a little different then, guys. It's kind of hard to even figure out how to end exactly, because it was more of a free form kind of discussion than anything with like because normally you go pretty deep into story lore.
That's true.
But this is so like again, that's my point though, is like Christmas lore is too big, so we had to scoop a little drop out of the bucket, and I hope you guys enjoyed that. And there's many more Christmases ahead.
There are.
We can pick up and choose, and hopefully we'll have more content by the next Christmas. We can cram in your ears, I guess, about Christmas. So
that's true. And if you guys really like this format and you want us to keep, for us to keep doing this once in a while, just have a bigger, longer story, let us know. My stories are already getting kind of noticeably longer, and this is definitely the longest one I've written.
You have to keep it down on that one there.
I'm trying.
If you guys don't know, I also edit them, and she's becoming a psychopath.
It's fine. This one's like 6 pages, and I think it's the longest I've written by far.
Yeah, sorry again about last week, folks. If you want to yell at us, go ahead. That's
illness.
Fine. As long as you're interacting with us at all, that's fine.
Illness sucks. That's honestly what it is.
Yeah, and that's another thing that plagues winter, like I mentioned in the beginning of the discussion, kind of is like, it's just not a good time of year. A lot of bad stuff happens. So, of course, the ghost stories, it was just perfect.
It's perfect time for it.
I say we do more ghost stories next year, but then we also do a little more deeper Christmas lore. This was just a tickle.
We can do more Victorian ghost stories next year.
Yeah, this is just a tickle, and your little first practice at the Victorian ghost stories. I liked it. I liked it more than I thought I would.
Oh, good.
On that one. It's a fun format to do.
Yeah.
It could put me out of my comfort zone a little bit.
Oh, good.
So,
good for you. Good for you.
And I hope that it put you out of your comfort zone and scared you.
If nothing else, it just a sense of dread, right?
That's kind of what ghosts are.
Also,
less than, you have the jump scares, but then realistically, to me, ghosts have never been scary but dreadful. Just the very idea.
Well,
anyway,
it depends on the type of spirit.
It's an existential dread, and it's more than anything. But I have a logical brain, so.
Well, like demons and poltergeists can be scary because poltergeists just love screwing with people.
But they're just so related and intertwined with the afterlife and your mortality, and it just makes you think about all that stuff. So.
It does.
And you're like, so that's what this kind of whole theme of this episode really was. And winter, it kind of does that. So winter is a ghost.
Winter is a ghost. Well, in Wicca, winter, what is it? Like, you get the 3 stages of the goddess, the maiden, the mother, and the crone.
Yeah, I've heard that.
I've always kind of
heard that.
I don't know if this is accurate because I've done enough research.
Sure.
Because Wicca is not.
Firing from the hip here.
Yeah, so fire from the hip. I've always associated the crone with winter.
Oh.
Always.
That would make sense.
And then the maiden is spring, and you have the mother in, summer and fall.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense, yeah.
Because she's not pregnant in spring, and then she gets pregnant, she has to spend winter and fall pregnant and sad.
Well, even if that's wrong, then you just made up some lore, and it makes at least some sense.
Again, that's what I associate with, but I'm not even Wiccan.
It's Krystal's Clear Lore.
Yeah, that's how my brain works.
Instead of Krystal Clear Lore this time, you get Krystal's Clear Lore.
Little peek into my
Christmas
mind.
Treat. Welcome to Christmas Clear Lore. Sorry, we're losing it. All right, guys.
All right.
So, yeah, guys, go leave some reviews on Apple if you listen to us on Apple. Otherwise, I don't even know if anything else does ratings and reviews. So give us some comments on YouTube. That's like our main thing is YouTube.
I think Spotify might.
I'm not sure. Spotify confuses me. So, if you guys know how to use Spotify, do your thing. YouTube's kind of our main thing just because let's be real. It's the easiest app in the world. So, Anyway, hit us up on one of the various platforms. We're on Threads, and Instagram is pretty much our only social media if you don't want to email us like a dinosaur.
Yeah.
So, don't let your words get lost in the tar pits.
We're on TikTok too, and we're on
TikTok,
YouTube, and we're on YouTube Shorts.
Yeah.
And YouTube
but I don't know.
Music.
Those aren't designed to interact. They're definitely designed to consume. So consume and then hit us up.
That's true.
And keep following us. But the most importantly, please share the podcast to your friends and anybody you think that would like to be spooked out or might be interested in learning a little bit of lore about some stuff.
Yeah, and please make sure that you guys have a good holiday, no matter what it is you celebrate. And if you're Jehovah's Witness, I want you to have a really good day.
Yeah, just in general, try to enjoy this dark part of the winter, and let's all get out of it together. We all deserve a big old high five and a big old hug.
Yeah,
because we did it again. We went around the sun again, guys, and then we have another one to go. So let's prepare.
Alrighty.
Be happy, be jolly, and
I hope that this made Christmas crystal clear.
Bye.
Bye. Follow us on Threads and Insta at Wormsong Media. That's WYRMSONG Media. Want to reach out to us? Email us at wormsongmedia@gmail. Again, that's WYRMSONGMEDIA@gmail.